So now in this case, the first thing, remember I go back to where we graph lines, I go back to y equals, and it gives me a fraction in front of the x. Then I have another number. But the number in front of the fraction in front of the number, that tells me how to move. That basically will tell me whether the line is going to be going up, it's going to be going down. It's going to give me the slope of the line, the inclination of the line. So what I'm asking for this case, it says find the slope of each line, and I'm giving you guys 2 points. I want you guys to give me that fraction, the inclination of the line. I know that that fraction tells me how to move from one point to the other. You have 2 points there, so tell me how to move from one point to the other. If I'm starting at this point, it seems like I have to go down 3, so my fraction is going to be negative 3 on the top. Remember, the top number tells me up or down. Down is negative, so negative 3. Then I have to move 1 to the right, so positive 1 at the bottom. Then simplify your fractions as much as you can. Negative 3 divided by 1, I'm going to call that negative 3. Some of your answers will remain as a fraction, but at least this one we can simplify to negative 3. Now, you guys might ask me, well, do I have to start at that point? Could I start at the other one? You start at any point you want. It doesn't matter which one. Because if I was to start at this one, I would have gone up 3, so it would be positive 3, but then I have to go 1 to the left, so it's negative 1, and then 3 divided by negative 1, it's also negative 3. So you start at any point you want. Just remember the top number tells me up or down, and obviously how many spaces. The bottom number tells me right or left, and obviously how many spaces. So having that said, let's take a look at question number 2. I'm going to start at this point just to pick a point. I'm going to go up 3. I'm going to put positive 3. Then it seems like I traveled 2 to the right, so it's going to be positive 2 at the bottom. Simplify your fraction as much as you can. That one's already simple, so just 3 over 2.
That's it.
That's slope. Remember, slope is how to move. So I told you guys that your algebra teachers, they will call this equation y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope. But they're choosing the letter m because it tells you how to move. They're choosing the letter b because when you graph it, that's where you begin. So that's why they use those letters. All right, any questions for the first 10? Which one? 3. All right, looking at question number 3, I'm going to travel from this point. So first, I have to go down. I count how many spaces. I have to go down 6. So I'm going to, my fraction, I'm going to put a negative 6 on top. Then I travel to the right. So it's positive 5 in this case. So positive 5. Negative 6 divided by positive 5, we call that negative 6/5. Notice how I brought the negative to the front. If you leave it on the top with the 6, I'll be okay with it. Okay. Any other questions for the first 10? Now looking at number 11, write the slope intercept form of the equation of each line. There's 2 things that you need. First of all, the slope. On the first 10 questions, I gave you 2 points, so it was easy for you to see where to start. Here, I'm not giving you any points, but we can mark that point because we know the x and the y value of it. We can mark this point because I can count the squares there, and we can mark this point. So just because the points were not marked, you can still mark them. Right? I came up with 3 points, but technically we only need 2. So choose any 2 you want. I'm going to choose those 2. So it seems like first I'm going to go down 5. So it's negative 5. I'm going to go 2 to the right. So my slope, right, I'm going to represent it with the m, is negative 5 over 2. That's my slope. If you were to choose other 2 points, make sure they simplify, and then they will simplify to the same fraction. That's your slope. Now your y-intercept, the point where you begin, is looking on the y-axis. You look for what's the value of y when you cross the line. So basically there. The y value is 0. So my equation of the line will be y equals negative 5 over 2x plus 0. If you guys think, well, plus 0 does nothing, I just want to write this as y equals negative 5 over 2x. I'll be okay with it as well. Worksheets yesterday, I gave you guys an equation, so I will give you guys this, and you guys graphed it. Now the question for the paper for today is, I give you the graph, you give me the equation.
So we make our own?
Well, make the correct equation, yeah. So remember, the equation is, I need the slope of the line, so you need 2 points to tell me what's the slope of the line, and you need to tell me the y-intercept, basically what's the y value when you cross the line. Let's take a look at question number 12. I need 2 points. I can easily mark that one, and I can mark that one. So my slope, I go up 2, and then I go to the right 10. So my slope is 1/5. That's my slope. My y-intercept, I'm looking at what's the value of y when I cross it. It's positive 4. So my equation will be y equals 1/5 x plus 4. So the slope is there, and that's the y-intercept. Like, where do we cross the y-axis?
We divide that to 2 and 10.
Yes. Simplify your fractions, yes. So notice how there's the slope and there's the y-intercept. That's what we call the slope-intercept form. Because you see a slope and then you see an intercept. All right, any questions? To give you guys a heads up on the quiz for tomorrow, there's 20 questions. The quiz is 20 questions. The first 5, I can give you something like y equals 2/5 x plus 3. I give you guys a graph and you graph it. I give you the equation where the y is by itself and you graph it. You notice that I can give you something like y equals 3. But now that one, you change it to y equals 0x plus 3. Remember I said if you're missing one of the terms, put it with the 0 with it. Okay, so 5 of those. Then 5, I can give you something like 5x plus y equals 3. And you have to graph it. Remember, move the x to the right, kind of like we did on the previous worksheet. Get the y by itself and then graph it. So that's 5 of these where the y is by itself, 5 questions where the y is not by itself, then 5 questions where I give you guys 2 points like this, and I ask you for the slope. 5 questions of these. And then 5 questions where I give you the line and I ask you for the equation. So basically everything. 13? All right, let's take a look at 13. I can see that point and I can see that point. So I'm gonna travel. Seems like I'm going down 9, so negative 9. Then I moved 1 to the right. I can remember I went down 9 and then 1 to the right. So my slope is negative 9. My y-axis, I'm crossing it at negative 4. So I'm going to write this as y equals negative 9x minus 4. Any other questions? Let me take all really quick.